Welcome back. I'm Kim Bailey. She's Fulyana Osborne, and this is Inside Exec. Today, we're going to look at a case study about getting a job after redundancy.
That's right. What we're going to do is talk about, we have actually covered this topic in the past. We talked about things, how you get prepared, how do you have the right CV, you search what you want to do next, it's an opportunity to start a new chapter, etc. How to line up your referees, list of your achievements, keeping in touch with your network, and all of those things. And what happens is, most of the time, as people get made redundant, initially they feel pretty bad, despondent, rejected, etc. And that's absolutely normal. However, this sort of feeling has to be pushed through, process it, and then push it through, and then go on to see what happened. And it's never ever goes to plan hardly. This case study, I think, will show you some of the things that a lot of people can relate to. Let's talk about the case study. We will call the person Jack. Jack worked for about 10 years in an organisation, and an organisation that he was very happy with, he performed really well with. However, this organisation has faced some uncertainty and some challenges, and they had to have some redundancies. So Jack was made redundant. So Jack obviously went through all those feelings that everybody goes through, and then he went on to start applying for jobs, very well prepared, very focused, very positive. It took quite a few months, and he wasn't even getting any interviews. Eventually, after 6 months, he got some interviews, and the interviews went really, really well, but then the interviews did not actually lead to an actual job. He continued to keep his confidence up, but it was quite difficult at times. So what he did during that time was focus on the fact that it is a timing thing and it is not him, and to read and educate himself and get himself some statistics to show that, there will be an opportunity coming up. Anyway, he continued with this. Then he got a job. He got a job in a sort of related industry, and 2 months in that job, he was really happy. He felt it was a good fit. Everyone in the organisation that he works with got on really well. He liked the culture, he liked the organisation, etc., and was getting very, very good feedback from his supervisor. Another 2 months went, and he's starting to, make a lot more inroads and grow in that job, and something went wrong again. Yes, you guessed it, more redundancies. Again, this company went through more challenges, different challenges to the other one, and being one of the most recent on was the first off.
Yep.
So it hit him hard, and he went on and didn't know what's going on. It's too soon, everything was going well. Anyway, he picked himself up and again went through all those things that we talked about, and he has practiced before, and it yielded that. He particularly focused on keeping his network up, keeping his education or just more skills up to date, etc. And then one day he decided, you know what, he heard on the grapevine there is a project going on in his original organisation, the one he's been 10 years with. He had mixed feelings about that, whether he will go there, is it worth going there, can he go there? But then he decided, when he read the project, he was passionate, he knew he could hit the road running, he knew he could do it. And as luck will have it, in one sense, the period of him being away from the organisation, there's a period where you can't come back, or you can come back as a consultant, etc. So from a legal aspect, he was able to get back. He didn't apply for the job. He actually got in touch with the person who running the project, who he didn't know before, they knew to that organisation, and put his case forward. In doing that, he then called upon his network, the past and present, and got some references and showed how he managed since the time and how much more he had to offer the organisation with all the inside knowledge that he had before. So he was shortlisted. He went for interview. He did really well, and he's got a job. He's got the job on a contract. It was a contracted job, 6 months, with a view to extend and opportunity for permanency. So that was a really, really good outcome. And I guess why I thought this case study is a good one is because I think most of us will not really go back to an organisation with this sort of time lapse and think to themselves, no, too new, they made me redundant or whatever. But don't forget the benefits of that. Don't forget how powerful it is to have so much that you can offer, and you put your feelings aside and you concentrate on the opportunity. To me, that is the takeout from this exercise.
I've been writing down a few things that resonate with me while you've been talking, and for those of you who probably haven't guessed so far, this recording we're doing remotely, so we're not in the same room as we usually are. So she was allowed to talk without seeing my reactions continuously for that period of time. So that's it. She doesn't get another chance now. First and foremost, because this is a topic of redundancy as a topic has been something that I've been involved with for a long time, and even in the most recent couple of months, in talking about redundancy as a situation, let's say, what we always have to remember, whether regardless of which side we're on in the redundancy activity, is that redundancy is about a position, not about a person. And so when an organisation makes a position redundant, they make the position redundant. And yes, someone's in that position and so they go. But as the person who is asked to leave or is offered redundancy, you have to remember that the organisation is not talking about you or your performance or how valuable you are. They have made a decision about the position and the relevance or the need for that position or the affordability of that position. And that's something that you need to get into your head when you are offered redundancy. And remember that in general, we are offered redundancy. I know in some cases people are just told, you're going.
Yeah.
And the wording is you are redundant, but what they really mean is the position is redundant. The other thing that came to mind was how long, when you see an organisation that is going through change or struggling, and we talked about this in a recent case study, those people in that case study knew for some time that change was coming and that redundancy might be a possibility. And it isn't something that we need to take on board, that we need to prepare ourselves for. In the current economic climate, if we are sensible managers and performers of our functions, our duties, then we should always be looking at the viability of organisations, not just close our eyes, put the blinkers on and say, well, I'm here, I'll do this job, and what happens, happens. Be responsible for yourself by looking around and seeing what might be happening and being realistic about how that will affect you and preparing yourself. So it's how long do you know beforehand and prepare yourself. It also, I find in my experience that too many people think of themselves as the job that they perform. And you are more than that, and you have more to offer than just the job you are doing at the moment. And I think this case study shows that. I was pleased to hear that he moved to a different industry, because that shows that he wasn't just the job, that there were skills there. And I think you have to start thinking about the skills you've got or the skills that you would like to use that aren't being utilised in your current position, and remembering that the job title is not who you are. That's not you. And this is an issue that we see when people retire, is that they have all these plans about what they're going to do when they retire. They do them in the first couple of years, and then they don't know who they are because they haven't got a title. They haven't got something to hang themselves with that they've done for the last 40 or 50 years.
Actually, it's a really good point that you make about the role, not the person. That will help people, even though we know it, we sometimes don't focus on it and we don't absorb it to say, no, it's not me, and it is the position. And also, I think now we've got so many more redundancies happening in the last few years, and it just keeps growing. It is kind of sadly a way of life. As you
Yep.
said, it's a business evolution, it's a business decision. If we take the retail industry at the moment, every day you hear another group is closing down or reducing number of retail outlets. So as you said, Kim, it's knowing and thinking for yourself about that possibility and preparing yourself mentally and financially, I guess.
Preparing is not about going out and having the CV ready and looking at what other opportunities there might be there. It's about you accepting that it might happen and understanding what your plan will be if it does happen. So it might be that you've decided that if it does happen, well, I'd like to have 2 or 3 months off so I could just reassess what I really want to do. And so start putting things in place that will allow you to do that regardless of when it happens. And if it doesn't happen, well, it's a plan that you've got that you can just keep there in case you need to use it. But I think it's always good for you to be managing yourself as well as you manage the work that you perform. The other question I have is that, this person has gone through a couple of redundancies, so it's going to look like long period of time. I'm talking about on the CV, long period of time,
Yes.
break, short period of time, break, something else. So we talked some time back about the relevance of breaks in work experience on a CV and how that is perceived by organisations. I think that, once again, it's up to you and how you sell it, how you present that on your CV and how you talk about it in your application and in your interview and in your interaction with an organisation.
Yes. For example, if you look at this case study, when the person had already got a job for a very short period of time and went back to the organisation, if the person is asking them, so what happened since you left here? You can put that in a very positive way but tell the truth, or you can say, oh, I've been having such bad luck, I've been made redundant again. Again, to your point, Kim, how you present it, it can be obviously the truth, but it has to show that the positiveness of what you gained since you had the opportunity to work somewhere else, you got new skills, you've proven that you could you adapt and that you get your performance, had good reference from the second organisation, etc. And that is the focus rather than, oh, poor me.
It's about, I think, when you are in that position, it's about talking about the things that you took out of each of those opportunities and talk about them as opportunities, not as jobs or positions or work that you did, but they are opportunities for you to show your skills in this area. And on the other hand, I learnt these skills while I was there. So I was really pleased that I had that opportunity to be in that organisation for the period of time that was allowed. So it's just the perspective that you put on those activities that allows you to think about it in those terms as well. And that's a better way for you to be thinking about it than, I did all this work, I was going so well, and then this happened. Don't be the victim, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is there's lots of things that happen to us, but it's how we react to them and how we manage them and how we take them on as a responsibility that will indicate your value and your worth, because any employer who is looking at you knows what the position is in their organisation. They know what you're going to have to come up against. And so they've already got some information in their head that they're trying to hear how you would match up with that information. I think we've probably covered that enough. Redundancy is unpleasant. It is something that we've been through ourselves. I've certainly been through a couple of times, and it is difficult. But if you've got a plan, at least you've got a fallback position. Even though you'll feel personally hurt by what happens, if there's a plan, it gives you something to move on to move forward with. And that's just me. I always like a list. Got to have a list for everything. So I have my post-redundancy list if ever I need it.
Might be a good thing to say. If anybody got any redundancy stories they like to share with some tips about how they got from A to B with the rest of the listeners, that would be great. Please send them on.
Please send them to us and we'll include them in the post about this particular topic. But But for now, I'm Kim Bailey, she's Fulyana Osborne, and this is Inside Exec.